We've done a lot of videos about bettas or bettas, however you want to say it, and it makes total sense because this is one of the most popular fish in the entire hobby. But we've never done a video like this. Let's play a little game of bettas, true or false.
You'll hear a lot of people say that bettas can adapt to anything and they don't need a heater. Wow, this is false. Bettas are tropical fish that originate in Asia in climates that are super hot pretty much year-round. Yes, they are resilient and will adapt to a lot of different parameters, but they want to be warm. If you provide warmer water for your betta that's like 78 to 80 degrees, they're going to be warm and cozy. If they're comfortable like that, you'll get to see their true personality and see them bounce around the tank constantly. If the water's too cold, your betta will just be lethargic and lay around the tank, and that's no fun. You don't want to watch your betta do that all day, and it's cruel.
Bettas can go to the surface of the water in your aquarium and take a breath of fresh air. This is true. Bettas are an anabantoid, which means they have what's called a labyrinth organ, which is basically like a lung. This is why they'll do perfectly fine in tanks that don't have a filter. Stagnant water has less oxygen in it, which for most fish is a total nightmare, but not as much for bettas. But we still want to do the right thing and get the water moving with either a small sponge filter or a low flow power filter. Yes, they can go to the surface and breathe air, but an aquarium with a little bit of water movement is going to be a whole lot more healthy overall for any fish in this hobby. So do yourself a favor and your fish a favor, go get a little power filter or a little sponge filter or something like that, or even just an air stone. Get that water moving. It's just going to make everyone's lives easier.
You would think that it's pretty much common knowledge, but you'd be surprised how many people still think you can put multiple bettas in a community tank. Now this is false, but it's also true. Most of the world doesn't call these fish bettas. They call them Siamese spider fish, and for good reason. As much as I love them, I gotta be honest. These are mean little fish. If you put multiple males in a tank, they will instantaneously fight till one of them is dead. It happens every single time, so don't even try it. But Lisa, you said this is false, but also true. Well, here's where things get a little tricky. If you know me at all, you know I'm obsessed with female bettas. I personally own about 50 of them. Female bettas can be put together in a tank and they're a lot less likely to fight each other like the males do, but I want to warn you, this is not something that's just automatic and works every time. If you want to try putting a bunch of females together and creating a betta sorority, I suggest doing tons of research first. Betta sororities can be done, but they come with tons of challenges. Do your research, have a backup plan, and if you're able to do a betta sorority successfully, you will have one of the most amazing tanks you've ever seen. Just don't do it with the males.
Hey, are you looking for a great place to buy your next betta? Well, click the link in the pinned comment down below and you found it. We also sell everything else you could ever need for your aquarium too. So anyway, you really need a light in your betta tank because you can mimic the rise and set of the sun and have it be more like nature. False. This applies to all fish, not just bettas. The light is for you, not the fish. We want to be able to see what's going on in the tank and watch the fish interact with its surroundings. Plus, we want to admire our fancy aquascape that we worked so hard on. This totally makes sense, but again, this is for you, not the fish. There's really only two exceptions to this rule. One is if your fish tank is in a room with absolutely no ambient light, like you have it in a closet or a corner room in your basement with no windows. And two is if you have live plants. You'll need a light not only for the plants to look good, but it's also a critical necessity for survival. And if your room has no windows and no light in the room, if that's the case, why would you pick that room to put your fish tanks in? Your fish will be constantly in the dark and nothing wants to live like that. But if you have your aquariums in a room with windows that you go into frequently and turn the room lights on, your fish aren't gonna die. I promise. I'll be completely honest with you, unless we're filming a video or doing a live stream on this channel every Thursday night at 8 p.m., we rarely turn our lights on. I mean, there's just no reason to. The fish are perfectly fine and we can see them with the ambient light in the room. It's really not that big of a deal. Unless we're talking about Lisa's planted tanks, then we have the lights on in them pretty much all the time, or at least 8-10 hours a day.
If you're a subscriber to this channel, then my answer to this question, it's gonna surprise you. If you're not a subscriber, well, that's an easy fix. All you have to do is hit that red button below. It's free. Bettas must be in a 5-gallon aquarium or larger. Wait for it. False! You heard me correctly, and it's true. Bettas can be in tanks smaller than 5 gallons. I just don't like it, and I think it's cruel. I'm a firm believer that bettas should be treated just like any other fish out there and given as big of a tank as the fish keeper can afford. I also understand that a lot of fish keepers can't afford a 5-gallon and they're just getting started. Maybe a 2.5-gallon is all they can do. Well, a betta can certainly survive in a tank that size. Just make me a promise that you're gonna get them a bigger tank as soon as you can. Go ahead, let me hear you say it. Good.
Bettas are raised in mud puddles in rice fields. False. People hear that bettas are found in the wild in rice paddies, and for some reason they interpret that as they're in little puddles, and this couldn't be further from the truth. Rice paddies are giant bodies of water in Thailand, Cambodia, and Vietnam that bettas can absolutely be found in. But the thing is, these aren't little puddles. They're literally acres upon acres of water. Now, I suppose there could be some situations where there's a drought and the water recedes and some bettas and other fish are left in the puddles. But this doesn't mean that's how they're born, raised, and thrive. I'm sorry, it's just not. I've literally had people tell me, yeah, I've got my fish in a little vase on my bookshelf, but that's okay because he was probably pulled out of some little mud puddle in Asia somewhere, so right now he's really living in luxury.
Male bettas are the most attractive betta, and the females are nowhere near as attractive. How dare you? This is definitely false. Yes, I'll admit I'm a little biased, but just look at them. Can you blame me? These little girls are gorgeous, and they're just as active and playful as the males. Depending on which type of betta you select, the males and females sometimes look very similar. In fact, I could make the argument that a female koi galaxy placat is even more beautiful than the males. Yes, it's true they don't have the huge fluffy fins like the males do, but these are awesome little fish and they're super gorgeous and they have the most amazing personality. So, you know what? If you don't like them, then you can just go fly a kite. And you thought I was gonna say something else, but you know what? I'm not a child like John.
Even if they're in separate tanks, if male bettas can see each other, it's gonna stress them out. This is true, kinda. So here's the thing, we all know male bettas and some females are always looking for a fight. Well, this doesn't only apply to them being in the same tank. It also applies to them just being able to see each other. This is why if you ever see a Betta breeder setup, they'll always have cards between the tanks. This makes it so that the fish can't see each other. We're not a breeder, but we even do this in the tanks that we have our Bettas for sale in. The reason them being able to see each other is a problem is because they don't know they can't get to each other. They see the other fish and they instinctively want to fight. They'll flare up and try to intimidate the other fish. They'll do this literally all day, non-stop. If they can't see each other, they're fine. The second you remove the card, they start going at it and they won't stop. To understand why this is a problem, I've got to use an analogy. Imagine if you were stuck on a treadmill at level 10 and you couldn't get off. Ever. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. That's what you need, John. How dare you? Eventually, you're gonna wear out and collapse or have a heart attack. Well, that's the same thing for your Betta. They'll basically work themselves to death. But wait, John, you said it's kinda true. Well, that's because giving your Betta a little bit of exercise now and then is a good thing. Just like me getting on the treadmill now and then is a good thing. I'm still mad at you about that. If you have two Bettas next to each other, it's a good thing to pull that card for 15 minutes a day just to let them get their blood flowing and get some exercise. Just don't overdo it. So there you go. I hope you're enjoying this new format. We're certainly having a lot of fun doing it. If you are, let us know down in the comment section below. And hey, listen folks, I need to ask you for a favor here. I don't mean to alarm you, but I've just found out that all of my fish, all of them, are gonna die if you don't subscribe to this channel. So please do me a favor and click that subscribe button down below. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and you'll be saving all of my fish. I could really use your help on this. Anyway, this has been fun. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.